If you love animations, I'm sure you might have come across the Kung Fu Panda animation. Very epic cartoon where there's this hero who comes out from the most unlikely place, most unlikely of candidates, and becomes the hero of the day, and it's selected. And the way this guy has been groomed and raised up to become the hero, or to become the dragon warrior as they call him, is very unorthodox. They were using his own weakness, his own appetites in terms of food. The trainer was using his own weakness in eating and binging and so on to train him, to motivate him, using his own weakness as a bait to motivate him. Well, I'm going to start a new series today, and I want us to talk about one of the most uncanny way of discovering your purpose, or drawing close to what your purpose in life is. You want to stay tuned to this. It's going to be an interesting ride.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
So when we're talking about purpose discovery, there are very many angles that we're able to take. But all of these angles are going to coalesce on one thing, and that is simply this: you've got to take action. You cannot discover your purpose when sitting back, when waiting for the burning bush experience, when waiting for someone to open up the skies, open up the windows of heavens and pour out the words of blessing to you. You're not going to discover your purpose when probably a prophet, and very many people do this, waiting for a man of God or for a prophet to come and to tell them, I called you to do this and to do that and to do that, before you can know what your purpose is. Do this whenever you are in action. And let me tell you, the thing that makes people not to discover their purpose is simply inaction, or it is action in the status quo. So either they sit back and they wait for purpose to come, or they are totally oblivious of the message of purpose and the need for purpose in their lives. And so what they do is what everyone else is doing, what the status quo has dictated that they need to do, what the education system has told them to do. And as long as we're doing those two things, as long as there is inactivity, sitting back and waiting, and as long as there is activity in the status quo, it becomes absolutely difficult for us to discover what our purpose is. But I'm saying in this new series, it is easy for us to discover purpose in the most uncanny of ways. When you're talking about the Dragon Warrior in the Kung Fu Panda, if you've not watched that thing, you need to go and watch it. Actually, I think there are two sequels or whatever, two movies. The thing is that the Dragon Warrior, who is a panda, is an oversized guy. Whenever you see a Dragon Warrior, you wouldn't know. Whenever you see a Dragon Warrior, what you see is they're lean, they're mean, they're well crafted and well chiseled, and they're ripped in body, something of that nature. But this Kung Fu Panda guy is fat. F-A-T. He is overweight, my goodness, and he eats, as in he just eats and eats and eats. And so the guru is supposed to craft a dragon warrior out of him. One of the ways that he will do is probably make him lose weight and all those things. But that's not the thing that the guru decides to do. The mentor to the dragon warrior decides to use the very thing that is considered as a weakness to guide this person, to guide this guy to become the dragon warrior, and he actually does succeed. The lesson that we learn from there is that at times in life, in fact, for the most part, the most enlightening things in life normally come from the most unexpected places. The most surprising places normally lead to the most enlightening revelations in life. Basically, it's like, the thing that people will easily overlook becomes the source. And now listen to this very carefully. One of the things that makes people not to discover purpose, I've already said it is inaction or action in the status quo. But linked to those two things is one thing, and that's what I'm going to talk about here. It is fear. People are afraid of the unknown, and I'm going to talk about that. We are afraid of the unknown, and it's okay, by the way. It's normal for a human being to be afraid of the unknown. When you want to propose to someone, and let's not talk about proposing, but when you want to take someone out or to date someone and you have no clue, you've never met them, you don't have a rapport and so on, it is in the realm of the unknown whether they're going to say yes or they're going to say no. And guess what? You're going to be propelled by two things in making your proposition. The first thing is the fear. They're going to say no. And the second thing is the aspect of your need is so great, or your desire is so great, or your love is so great, or your emotion is greater than the fear of the unknown. But then, if you wanted the answer to come, you're going to do the proposition whether the fear is there or not. And that is the same thing that I want us to focus on. In one way, I want us to discuss why we need to activate the fear factor in our pursuit of purpose. See, it is folly to sit back and wait until the fear subsides so that you can do something. I think I saw something on Tony Robbins' LinkedIn profile yesterday. He said something profound. He said that failure or setback, they're not supposed to dissuade us. They're actually supposed to persuade us to do much more. And I think there's something of that nature. He says something of that nature. And the same thing with fear, that you cannot wait fear to subside, but you can do something in spite of or despite of the fear that you're feeling inside of you. And I put it to you, for the most part, people do not have vision and people do not have purpose in their lives because they are afraid of the ramifications of the pursuit of that particular vision, of that particular purpose. So if you sit down and you're waiting for a burning bush experience so that God can give you your purpose, it's because you are in the comfort zone. It's because you are not wanting to exercise the fear factor. Chances are that you're going to wait for a long time and the answer is not going to come. And I'm not saying that God has stopped giving people the burning bush experience and all these wonderful ways of showing people their purpose. He still does that way. But the SI unit of purpose discovery is not in the spectacular. I can say that 1,000,000 times. The way people discover their purpose, for the most part, is not in the spectacular, in the complicated, in the wow. It is in the daily and sometimes even in the mundane application of life. And at times this is permutated. There is a permutation of fear in the equation. I'm saying that the outlook of life gives impression that there are only a few people who can discover their purpose or whom God can call. But on a daily basis, millions of people can be able to discover their purpose. The point is that everyone is called, and there is no one special than the other. All of us have inbuilt and necessary tools to fulfill our purpose in life, and we are all different. And of course, and that's the main reason as to why we should pursue purpose. We are all different. And the problem is that we are all different, and yet we are looking to do the same thing. And that's an oxymoron. So we are all different, but no one is more special than the other. Every one of us has a uniqueness that is up to them. The question is, how faithful are we to that purpose? How faithful are we to that uniqueness? How faithful are we to that difference? This outlook in life stops all the traffic, stops all the comparisons where people feel less important than the others, and so on and so forth, and realizes that there is a difference in me, and that difference is connected to my purpose. So all of us do matter. So let me just bring it in. There is the aspect of fear in life that is dissuading people from doing a lot of things. And I've learned, or I read somewhere, that when people are born, when you and I are born, we don't have very many fears. We only have two: the fear of falling down and the fear of noise. The other fears are learned over the years. And as we keep learning to be afraid, we also keep learning to seclude ourselves and to withdraw from our potential, withdraw from our possibilities, withdraw from the possibility of our purpose coming to fruition. And maybe there is absolutely nothing you can do about the fear. You cannot ward off the fear, you cannot ward it off, you cannot wish it away, you cannot bind and lose it, you cannot do maybe away with it. It is always going to be there. We're always going to learn to be afraid, and in some instances the fear at times helps us. The question is, how can we put this fear in the perspective, and how can we activate the fear so that it leads us into discovery of our purpose? That is what I want us to talk about in the next few episodes in this new series. All the other types of fears are learned and they are developed alone. You know, in this book, T.D. Jakes talks about, in this book, Instinct, the power to unleash your unborn drive. T.D. Jakes talks about something very interesting with fear, and this is what he says, and I'm going to quote him. He says, the Olympic race of fear within you has but two contenders. One is the claustrophobic fear of staying. Status quo, that's what I was talking about. And the other contestant is the heart-pounding, adrenaline-releasing fear of stepping into the unknown world before you. Which fear are you going to subscribe to? The kind of fear you subscribe to determines the outcome thereof. How so true a statement that T.D. Jakes is making. It really matters what kind of fear we allow to govern our lives. And the interesting paradox is this, that purpose is known. Parts of purpose are known. But its permutations, its ramifications, in the pursuit of purpose, in the process of pursuing purpose, they are unknown. And that's where the fear factor comes in. And so either we are afraid, the fear of staying, like T.D. Jakes says, one is the claustrophobic fear of staying, and the other contestant is the fear of stepping into the unknown. Let me explain. Lawrence might be having the idea of his purpose in life, to work with people and so on. However, much as I seek clarity on that vision, on that mission, and on those values of my calling, the ramifications, the permutations, how it's going to pan out in the end, they are unknown to me. And they are not necessarily positive now that they are unknown. And therefore the fear grows to the degree of it being unknown. And the problem is stagnation also grows to the degree of the unknown. What I'm saying is that what we can do is just say, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like when this man called Richard Branson, Sir Richard Branson, I remember there's a story told of Richard Branson learning how to swim. He knew he couldn't swim, and then his auntie dared him that he's going to give him this and this and this if he swam. And she said it in such a way of putting him down to the fact that he will never do it. This guy writes in his book that him and his aunt parked somewhere, he jumped into a river. He did not know how to swim by the time he was doing this. But few minutes later, he learned how to swim. He would have drowned, but he learned how to swim and he got the present that the auntie had dared him to do. If he hadn't done that, it would have been because of the fear of drowning. Well, I'm saying this, that we are starting a new episode. We're starting a new series where we're going to discuss how we can discover our purpose by activating the fear factor. And I want us to stay tuned to the next episodes. Bye-bye. A special shout out to my mentor Jeffrey Howard of Visionary Business University, found at mastermindmentor.com, who has graciously provided me with the soundtrack and the introductory track to this podcast. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.